If you're listening to this episode, I bet you're wondering what behaviors you're doing that keep you from getting your needs met and ending up in situationship after situationship. I got you. I've created a situationship quiz and I'm so excited about it. Take the quiz to discover more behaviors and more tips for navigating situationships, because I know you're in more than one right now. No judgment, boo-boo. I used to have 5 situationships at a time. Yes. So you're not alone. You can find the quiz at www.dontea.co/quiz. That's DONTEA.co/quiz. I'll drop it in the show notes as well. Okay, back to the episode. If you're listening to this episode, I bet you're wondering what behaviors you're doing that keep you from getting your needs met and ending up in situationship after situationship. I got you. I've created a situationship quiz and I'm so excited about it. Take the quiz to discover more behaviors and more tips for navigating situationships, because I know you're in more than one right now. No judgment, boo-boo. I used to have 5 situationships at a time. Yes. So you're not alone. You can find the quiz at www.dontea.co/quiz. That's DONTEA.co/quiz. I'll drop it in the show notes as well. Okay, back to the episode. Hi, loves. I'm so excited about this episode, how we as women eat the crumbs so we can continue to date the potential. So let's get into it. Hi, loves. I'm Dontea Mitchell-Hunter, your new fave self-worth therapist, and this is Detox Therapy. Quick note, even though I'm a fully licensed therapist, this show is not a replacement for therapy. If you find yourself needing a therapist, definitely search for one in your area. Now, if you want to work with me though, and you live in Washington, Georgia, or DC, then please go to my website at soireesintherapy.com and book your free 15-minute consultation. So, what do I mean by crumbs? I mean, he calls you back 2 hours later consistently, and the excuse is he's busy, right? He tells you it's not personal and that, yes, he does like you and he'll try to do better, right? And so in these moments, we stay, because in our minds, it's like, okay, it's rocky now. It's not really working out. Our communication sucks. However, he's telling me what he'll do better. And so that's the potential that I'm waiting to happen, right? So we get these little tiny crumbs of like, it's going to get better. And then we're waiting for the better. We're waiting for the potential to come in as he said would come, right? So we say to ourselves, oh, he says he'll do better. So I just keep investing in him month after month because, remember 3 months ago, he said he would do better, right? That's what he said. No, ma'am. This is what I mean by crumbs. The illusion of leading to a great feast that will never come. In other words, the illusion of a committed monogamous relationship that will never come. Side note, it may happen, right? The relationship, you can definitely have a relationship happen from these situations. However, it will for sure be on his time and under his control. I've been there. Trust me, I've been there. So I'm not saying you can't get a relationship when you're dating someone who's giving you crumbs. I'm just saying it more than likely won't look like how you wanted it to look. And it might take 7 years to get there. Story time. So let me give an example about a time where I was dating someone and I was just eating the crumbs that were falling out of his pocket, right? And I'm just like steadfast, like just eating the crumbs. So this is someone I was dating. He's very educated, right? Very educated. And he's successful, and he is very busy, right? So when we are successful, or when we're doing well, when our business is going great, whatever, right? You're pretty occupied. Like, it's just kind of what happens. So he would call me when he's free, right? Now, if he called and I missed the call and I called him right back, he wouldn't answer. Literally, like, call comes in, missed call, I see my phone, missed call. Within the same 30 seconds, I'm calling back, would not answer, right? Or if I didn't text back in a certain amount of time that for him he thought would be a good enough time, then he would match that. And then he wouldn't respond to me for 7 hours or at all, right? So like whether I'm working or it's a Saturday and he calls me, but I'm out with friends or doing whatever. And however long I took to respond to him isn't what he would do to me, right? So then, of course, I would fall into this cycle, this role of rescuing him. So I would maybe send a message and say like, did you get my text? Or I would think to myself like, oh, maybe he didn't get the message because maybe he was in a bad area. So I'd ask him through text, like, did you get my message? Or I'd make 2 calls after his missed call to me. Maybe after a FaceTime call, I would, just try to like get back in contact if I missed something. And I would just keep telling myself like, oh, maybe how service is, maybe something didn't go all the way through, or, all the ways of just like, it's something I'm doing wrong and I have to see where I messed up. Right? Because it's not on him. I'm sure he's like always going to do what he needs to do. So it's something from my end that he's not getting my ways of trying to communicate. Right. So, I get upset. Right. And then we would talk about it. I would be frustrated. Like, I don't understand how you can call me and I call you back literally within 30 seconds and I get really mad about it. And he would say, oh, I got busy, or I had to walk into a meeting. And I would say, I don't understand why you would call someone if you only had, 20 seconds to talk, kind of thing. And he was, the same old. He says, I'll do better. So I wait and I wait and I wait for the better, right? It's good for a few days. I get my breadcrumbs, so I'm snacking, and then the bullshit happens again. The bullshit comes by him saying, let's schedule a time to chat. Like that. Here's one example. Let's schedule time to chat because, we're both working people. So sometimes you got to schedule times to chat. So I respond with my times available, whether that's through text or maybe it's through an email or whatever. Okay. What happens next? Have you guessed it? I don't hear from him for like maybe the whole day, or maybe 2 days have gone by. Right? And then when he does resurface, he says, sorry, I missed the times you were free. Because of course, when I responded to him about when I'm free, I'm saying, oh, tonight at this time or tomorrow at this time. And so when you take 2 days to respond, of course, you're going to miss those windows. So he says, I'm sorry, I missed the times you were free. When are you free again? So when are you free again? And it continues to repeat over and over. Just the same type of, like, some people may call this cat and mouse kind of thing, right? And there could be some of that too. And what I'm focusing more on is how I would be just like okay with the fact of like, gosh, this really isn't working out right now. However, we have the talk. He says he'll do better, and yet I still put it on myself that there's another version of myself, or there's another way I can go about this, right? So overall, the highlight of this is you're getting enough to stay, because if any less crumbs, then you'd leave, right? I'm gonna say it again. You're getting enough to stay because if any less crumbs, then you'd leave. So for me, I was getting enough breadcrumbs from him to stay. I was getting the phone calls. I would even get the 3-5 hour phone calls sometimes. I would get the text messages. I would get the call you on your lunch. I would get the let's take a trip. I would get all those things. And I also wasn't getting too few. Like, right, if I didn't get enough of those, then I would leave. So I was getting just enough to stay, even though I wanted more. There wasn't enough consistency and commitment in between those crumb moments, right? So other versions of crumbs could look like, let's see, like maybe he's not ready to be exclusive, or hell, even admit that you two are dating. So we're just going to be fuck buddies, I guess, for the next 2 years. Is that what we're doing here? Pretty much, right? It's these crumbs of like, oh, I want to be with you. It's just X, Y, whatever the excuse is that someone may say to you. And so in between that time, as you're waiting for the potential, as you're waiting for the question, as you're waiting for the we're exclusive, as you're waiting for whatever, you're in this gray space, right? So while we're in that gray space, because sometimes we're in the gray space for 2 years. I've known people who are in a gray space for 7 years. I've known people who are in a gray space for 12 years, right? Literally. Long ass times. And so all along, while you're in these spaces, you've assigned yourself the role of girlfriend. You're giving your time, your energy, your body, even money to this gray area, right? Like this relationship with him, because you tell yourself that the crumbs are holding you over. When truthfully, you're starving. You're starving for him to take you seriously, starving for quality time and attention, starving for a sense of trust, honesty, and security, starving for him to make a decision. Finally, please. Starving for him to take you on the trip, right? This trip that he keeps talking about he's going to go on, and you're hoping that he'll invite you on the trip. You might even throw out little comments. Nothing works, right? So you're starving him to take you on this trip, but instead he tells you he's going on a solo trip. And then as soon as he lands, his phone stays off the duration of the trip. It's not like he's in Aruba or anything. Like he's in Miami, and he doesn't call you back until he returns. So your mind starts to wonder, right? Of course. Was he with another interest? We don't know. This is just the behavior that's happening, right? And so we have a feeling, but we can't confirm because he denies everything. And by now, you're so used to the wishy-washy behavior, right? Those crumbs, right? Just to hold you over kind of thing. And I'm gonna tell you I'm gonna do better, and then I still give you the same exact crumbs. Right? You're so used to this behavior. You're starving to be the girl he chooses. Right? The one who gets pasted on his Instagram wall. Sorry. I'm feeling like the emotions of it, because one, I've been there many, 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 many times in my life. Thank God for therapy. Thank God for healing. And when I look back on this and I work with my clients and I see these kind of things come up, it's sad. It's really sad, and not all of us want to be the Instagram person. Like, that's not the only way we want to be seen with this person. Some people just feel like, can we just go on a date in public? How is it that every time we have dinner, how is it that every time we hang out, it's at my house, right? How come I haven't met your friends and we've been in this gray area for 2+ years, right? Does your family know who I am, kind of thing? There are these work events I'm never invited, right? So it's just all these ways of you're waiting for that potential, you're waiting for that moment to finally come, where you're not just eating crumbs, where you're not just told to wait, where it's actually like, yeah, you and I together, I'm holding true to my word. I'm being consistent. I'm being honest. I'm not just giving you crumbs. I'm actually giving you sandwiches, girl, because you deserve, right? Those moments of being seen, those moments where just all the things that you finally wanted to come to a head come, right? No one wants to be just eating crumbs all the time. No one wants to just be waiting and waiting and waiting for the potential to happen. No one wants to be wondering, questioning their self-worth. No one wants to be, oh, maybe if I buy him this outfit for his birthday, then he'll really see that, I'm the girlfriend, right? I mean, I've been there. Listen, I've bought ex-boyfriends clothes many, many, many a times. I've bought them plane tickets. I've done a lot of things. I've done a lot of things when you're in this gray area, right? And you're just waiting and waiting and waiting. And the toxic part of it, the underlying part of it is that it continues because you're not getting enough nutrition. I just love using this metaphor for this crumbs metaphor. Because you're not getting enough nutrition, it starts to eat away at you. And it eats away at your self-worth, your self-esteem. You start to internalize it. Maybe I need to make an episode about internalizing because that shit is dangerous. Okay, so let's go to the breakdown. So how to stop eating crumbs, right? Like, okay, Donde, I've heard about all the crumbs, girl. I get it. Yes, that's me. That's my life. Once again, you read my diary without my permission, right? Like, okay, I get the crumbs. So now just please tell me how to not do this anymore, right? Okay. So first, I want you to ask yourself, do I want to stop eating the crumbs? And I really want you to answer this. Do I want to stop eating the crumbs? And I want you to ask yourself this because we need to know what we want to do. Do I really want to stop living life this way with this person? Because you may not want to. Maybe you like the crumbs, and that's okay too. If eating the crumbs is not destroying your sense of self, is not having you feel dazed and confused, is not you constantly asking yourself, what am I doing wrong? Then by all means, please eat the crumbs and please write into me and tell me how eating the crumbs works for you. I would love to know. Seriously. Question number 2. Do I deserve more than crumbs? I hope your answer is hell yes, because you deserve to be full every day, okay? I want you to be full every day. So asking yourself, do I deserve more than crumbs? And this question is different from question 1 of do I want to stop eating the crumbs? Because wanting, what am I wanting, is different from what I feel like I deserve, right? You may feel like I deserve crumbs. Maybe my childhood, the people who were supposed to love me and protect me and stand up for me and all the things didn't. And so I'm very used to low level relationships. I'm very used to relationships where I do all the work and they just are there. So you may not feel like you actually deserve a healthier, more consistent, less authentic, right? Less mysterious, like what's going on here. Question number 3. What is it about the crumbs that I enjoy? I really want you to answer this question as well. I want you to answer all the questions. I really want you to answer this question too, because it's important to know the benefits of eating the crumbs. We know the cons. I just talked about the cons, right? What do we enjoy about eating the crumbs? So maybe you enjoy the fact that having someone in your space that does reach out to you when they do makes feeling less alone. You know what I mean? Like if I have someone that's texting me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, then I don't feel so alone, because when they're in that space, I feel like, okay, it's not just me out here, right? There's someone that's checking in on me. So that's better than not having someone check in on me or ask me how my day is going or to just say good morning, beautiful, that kind of stuff, right? So really ask yourself, what do I enjoy about the crumbs? Is it because I have a +1? Even though he's inconsistent, I have a +1, right? Question number 4. Am I ready for feast? right? Like, all right, going back to my metaphor. Are you ready for a feast? Are you ready to like not just have crumbs? Are you ready for the sandwich? Are you ready for the steak? Are you ready for the buffet even? Are you ready for the chef, like the in-house chef, right? Where you're never hungry again kind of thing. I hope that your answer is yes. I really hope so, Queen. Like, you deserve this. Okay. So those are the questions I want you to ask yourself. And then finally, I have some action steps for you to take to like really move this forward. So action step number 1, it's our dear friend boundaries. Boundaries is everything, right? Your new boundary is crumbs. That's your new boundary. So meaning when a crumb is dropped, that means a limit was breached. So the next crumb that gets dropped, I don't want you to pick it up, right? Leave it. So here's an example of a crumb being dropped. Okay. And we do something different this time. So example, he doesn't call back in a respectful time again. No surprise. So tell yourself, I deserve more than crumbs. And then stop yourself from doing what you immediately do right after being triggered. So stop your behaviors, that strong desire of texting him back to say, you called. Are you okay? Are you going to call me back? Sending like the threatening text messages, right? Like, fine, don't call me back. I'm done. All of that. Right? So if the crumb is, you reach out to him, he doesn't call you back, right? He doesn't call you back until maybe 1 a.m. or whatever, right? That's like a little crumb because for you, you want to have more respect around that. Like, if I call you, please don't call me at 1 a.m. Like have some decency, right? So instead of doing the whole thing of, while you're waiting, like in that 7-hour period of him to call you back, while you're waiting, you're sending them threatening messages. You are asking, hey, are you okay? I called you. Like all that kind of stuff, right? Because it's a crumb. So like, let's not respond to the crumb. Action number 2, find new ways, find new things even to do with the time you would usually spend on waiting for his reply. So here are some helpful tips. 1, make a values list. List all the things that are of value to you. Example, communication, clarity, intentionality, ambition, quality time, etc. 2, make an ideal partner list. So when I think about my ideal partner, right? What are the qualities that this person possesses? What are their characteristics? What are their beliefs, desires, things like that? And number 3, list crumbs to watch out for in all relationships. Yes, this means family, this means friends, and it definitely means work relationships too. So list all the crumbs that you have experienced with all types of relationships. Got all of that? You're going to do great. I believe in you. You got this. Thank you, loves, for listening to this week's episode. If you're enjoying the show, it'd be really great if you could please rate and review. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Soirees in Therapy. To learn more about the services I offer, visit soireesintherapy.com. If you've got a question you'd like me to answer, please send your question to Dantea at soireesintherapy.com. The answer might just become an episode.